Let's take a step back to Richard Martha Lloyd Walters, born on January 14, 1965, often revered as one of the finest raconteurs in the hip-hop world. Hailing from New York, he was actually born and spent a large part of his early years in Mitcham, a southwestern London district. His Jamaican parents migrated to the UK for more employment opportunities. Tragedy struck when, at only 18 months old, Ricky got into a scuffle with a girl that led to a piece of glass, damaging his eye. Despite several unsuccessful attempts by surgeons, Ricky ultimately lost sight in one eye. He first used Ray-Bans to cover it up, but later chose to wear an eye patch, which became his signature look. Ricky wasn't the most athletic kid in school, but he was skilled in different ways, showing a keen interest in drawing. Unlike most children, he drew more lifelike subjects instead of cartoons. Though he spent over 10 years in the UK, he didn't forge strong ties there. In the late 70s, at age 11, Ricky moved with his family to the Bronx, New York, specifically at East 240 First Street and White Plains Road. Remember this location for later. He attended LaGuardia High School of Music and Arts, where initially he was ridiculed for his accent and fashion sense. But in time, he befriended future celebrities like Digi Vance Ride and rapper Dana Dane. They bonded quickly, forming a group called the Kango Crew, and started to perform wherever they could. At a 1984 battle in the Bronx, Rick met Dougie Fresh, who later became a renowned figure in the 20th century American beatboxing scene. Impressed by Rick's lyrical style, Doug made him a part of his Get Fresh crew. Dougie's unique beatbox skills and Rick's fresh flow made for a perfect duo. It wasn't long before Rick, under the name MC Ricky D, made his debut on Doug's single The Show. The B-side, La Dee Da Dee, would become a monumental piece of hip-hop history, one of the most sampled and referenced tracks ever. La Dee Da Dee, We Like to Party, soon became an iconic line in the world of music. The songs garnered mainstream attention, featuring on shows like Top of the Pops and Soul Train. These appearances helped the Get Fresh crew and Slick Rick rise to prominence. In 1986, Rick joined Russell Simmons' Rush Artist Management and became the third artist to sign with Def Jam Records, a leading hip-hop label at the time. Working with high school friend DJ Vance Wright, Rick produced a solo album, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick, which hit the shelves on November 1st, 1988. The album was a sensation, spawning hits like Mona Lisa, Children's Story, Teenage Love, and Hey Young Love. Rick's distinctive accent and unique narrative style captivated fans. As music critic Matt Weiner noted, Rick's songs were compelling stories from start to finish. The album reached #1 on the US Billboard 200, securing Slick Rick his place in the annals of hip-hop. No longer just a trailblazer, he was now a star. While his official singles gained widespread success, his collab track La Dee Da Dee with Dougie Fresh became an underground sensation. However, despite selling over 500,000 copies and performing at Madison Square Garden, Rick's relationship with Dougie Fresh ended abruptly. Rick felt that Fresh was withholding his due share, an allegation he would later minimize to a simple difference in perspectives. Consequently, they parted ways. Fame and success for Rick came at a cost. The lavish lifestyle was enjoyable, but it was coupled with creeping paranoia due to the constant attention. It reached a point where he felt the need to carry a firearm for protection, a decision his mother Veronica disapproved of. In 1989, she suggested hiring his cousin Mark Plummer as a bodyguard for Rick's summer tour. This seemed like a good idea, but it turned out to be disastrous. Mark came from Jamaica to New York, but showed more interest in easy money and illicit connections than in working. He started expressing dissatisfaction with the $500 weekly pay from Rick, and began demanding more. Since Rick had most of his money tied up in real estate, he couldn't afford to pay more, so he gave Mark $2,000 in a van, asking him to wait until his next album release. However, Mark didn't take it well. He pestered his mother, Veronica, who had initially suggested hiring him for more money. He refused to register the van in his name, which led to parking tickets accumulating in Rick's name. Mark went to great lengths to harm Rick, including planning robberies and attacks on him and his mother. After a string of unfortunate incidents, Rick felt threatened, and this fear escalated when several men who Rick claimed were Mark's friends shot at him outside a Bronx club on April 20th, 1990. Rick, his female companion, and a man standing nearby were hit but miraculously survived. Following the attack, Rick found bullet holes in his front door, causing his paranoia to turn into outright fear for his and his family's lives. Consequently, he purchased several guns and started carrying them around, even stashing some in his car. He later confessed to the judge that he was so fearful for his life that he didn't dare leave his house. The apex of this nightmare came on July 3, 1990. Rick, armed with a pistol, and his 7 months pregnant girlfriend, Misa Santiago, were out for some Chinese food. After dinner, they got into Rick's car, intending to shop for their unborn baby. During the drive, Rick spotted his cousin Mark exiting a store on 241st Street and White Plains Road where he'd grown up. Rick instantly reached for his gun and began shooting. He fired 2 shots out the window, missing Mark but hitting a bystander, Wilbur Henry. He then shot Mark in the leg and arm before Mark managed to escape. Rick sped off, but nearby police officers witnessed the incident and gave chase. After a short pursuit on the Bronx River Parkway, Rick crashed into a tree while attempting to exit the highway. The crash left Rick with cuts and bruises but broke both legs of his pregnant girlfriend. They were taken to the hospital and soon arrested. Rick was charged with 2 counts of attempted murder, assault, use of a firearm, and criminal possession of a weapon. He pleaded self-defense but eventually pled guilty to all charges, leading to a sentence of 5 to 15 years in prison. Rick's lawyer argued that his client had acted out of fear, pointing out that he was previously a victim of a violent attack. However, the judge found little sympathy for Rick's case, particularly due to his disregard for bystanders when he opened fire on a busy street. While in prison, Rick converted to Islam and changed his name to Ricky Walters. He also began writing music again, even managing to release an album while incarcerated. Titled Behind Bars, it dropped in 1994 and included guest appearances from famous rappers like Snoop Dogg, Warren G, and Biggie Smalls. Although the album didn't reach the same level of success as his earlier work, it was still a testament to Rick's talent and influence in the industry. However, prison life took a toll on him.
I just tell everybody out there, try to stay on the legal side of the law, you know what I'm saying? Because this ain't the place.
Rick's health deteriorated due to poor living conditions and a lack of proper health care. He struggled with depression and contemplated suicide. He also had issues with his vision and eventually went blind in his right eye. His girlfriend, Misa Santiago, stood by him and frequently visited him in prison, along with their 2 children. Despite his challenges, Rick managed to stay creative and hopeful. During an interview from prison, he shared that he had developed a new appreciation for life and a deeper understanding of his responsibilities. He realized the importance of being a role model for his children and made it his mission to turn his life around. After spending more than 5 years behind bars, Rick was granted parole in 1997. He resumed his music career and became a vocal advocate for criminal justice reform and youth education. In 1999, he released The Art of Storytelling, an album that received critical acclaim for its compelling narrative style and introspective lyrics. Slick Rick's story is a tale of meteoric rise, catastrophic fall, and eventual redemption. His impact on hip-hop culture is undeniable, and his music continues to inspire new generations of artists. Despite the adversities he faced, Rick turned his life around and used his experience to make a positive impact on society. And that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe and hit the bell notification for more fascinating stories. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.